backyard builder here. Well, the next phase of our project, before we can actually vapor barrier, we have to get the rest of our utilities behind the wall here. So what I need to do next is bring my heat duct from overhead, bring it across the room and down the wall, and get myself a little floor outlet for my heat. I personally like having my heat blown to my floor. I find it keeps the room a whole lot warmer that way, naturally, since heat rises. So you just blow the heat to the floor, and you keep the whole room warm that way. Now I've got some heating duct here. I'm hoping I have enough. Didn't measure it. I just went out to the garage and found what I could find. And we'll find out soon enough whether or not I've got enough to complete the project, or if I'm up to the hardware store. But anyways, I got a couple of older pieces here, a couple of cut-offs, and I'm thinking I've probably got enough here. Now, one thing about the heat duct, okay, when you're putting ducting like this together, okay, you've got a crimped end and you have an uncrimped end. Basically, the way it goes is that you put the crimped end into the uncrimped end of the next pipe, and now your airflow goes from the uncrimped end into the crimped end, and of course into the uncrimped end of the next pipe. That way you're underlapping each piece, and you reduce your air resistance that way. Because if you go backward, okay, here's the end of the pipe here. See, if you go backward, you've got this little space right in here where the air can catch, and it creates wind resistance at each joint. So your airflow is actually in this direction, so that it reduces the wind resistance. Now, I've got myself another handy little tool here. This is a little crimper. Basically, it's just a bunch of little blades, and you just crimp it, and you just give it a squeeze, and it crimps your metal for you. It's handy when you've got older ducting, or if you are working with a piece that's been cut off. And it works real simple. Basically, all you do is you just take your crimper and just put it on the end of the duct and start squeezing. And you just go all the way around your pipe that way. And basically what you're doing when you're crimping it is you're actually making the end of the pipe smaller by introducing folds to the metal. And that's obviously why the crimped end goes into the uncrimped into the next pipe. So, but this pipe was previously used. I took it out of this room before I started. Used to go to the middle and blow from overhead, and as I mentioned, I don't like doing my air that way, so it's personal preference. This way's a bit more bother, but I feel it works better. So, but you can see the tool works rather quickly, just gives everything a nice even crimp all the way around. Whoever crimped this thing before must have done it with a pair of pliers or something, because it wasn't very evenly crimped. But there, now that's sort of looking professional, and that'll fit nicely into the next piece. So anyway, I need to start up at the roof over yonder and bring it across the ceiling. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of lengths of pipe together and then I'm going to take some strapping material like this and just hold it up to the ceiling joists. Just simply run my material around the pipe and just tie it up to the underside of the floor, just using a short screw. And but before I do that, I need to put all my pipes together. Now, when you buy this stuff, it actually comes open like that. It's just a shipping thing. They can stick pipes in one inside the other that way, and they don't have to ship them all individually. It just saves on shipping costs. So to put these things together is real easy. You just start at the one end, and basically it's just a matter of lining it up and just pushing down on it, and it simply snaps together that way. And incidentally, there we go. Just start at the one end, just push it inside, and then just go along the length of the tube, just pushing it in as you go. And incidentally, if you need to take these apart again, all you do is you simply just squeeze like that, and it unlocks the seam and pulls apart again. So these are quite handy that way. So I'm just going to get this length of pipe put together, and we'll get started. Sometimes works a little easier if you do it on the ground. Just line up your end there, just push that in, get the first one hooked. Yep. Come on, get in there. Just get the first one hooked, and then just go along and just put pressure along the seam and just snap them up as you go. And that's just like that. Now, one other thing I should mention. One other thing I should mention is that make sure you get the heavy gauge pipes if you're going to be doing the heat. The light gauge pipes are for doing cold air return, but on the heat side you require by code to have the heavier 26 gauge. Okay, we're going to start by assembling part of our pipe on the ground here. Basically just take one end and slide it in the end of the next pipe. Push it in all the way, and then put a couple of screws in it. Now I'm using these little, they're little socket pan heads, the flat bottom rounded top. They're called a pan head, and they're about ½ an inch long, and they've got little self-drilling bits on the end of them. So I'm just going to put a couple of these into each joint and just make it nice and secure. Just ensures that it stays nice and stable. Now what I'm going to do next here, I've got this silver foil tape, and I'm just going to wrap that all the way around the the joint there, and that just seals off the ducting so that you don't get any air seeping out of it. Now, people might want to ask about duct tape. Well, don't actually use duct tape, because duct tape wasn't actually designed for using on ducts. It will dry out and fall off and be totally useless after probably less than a month or so of heat. It's just not designed for this purpose. This silver metal foil tape is what you use for sealing your joints. And I'm going to put a third section on here. Now, this next step may actually require a little bit of jostling around or a bit of assistance. Basically, once you get a section that you're ready to put up, you simply lift it up to the roof, hook it in the end, and then put a strap underneath of it to hold it in place. And there are ways to do this yourself, or you can struggle along, or you can just call somebody to help you. So once you get it up there, that's basically what it should look like there. I've got it all strapped up there. I got to cut my box off yet, but that's basically what you look like. Just keep on adding sections that way until you get what you need. Okay, so once we have that pipe installed above us, the next thing we need to do is come down the wall, and we make our bend using a standard boot. Normally this is put on the end of a heat duct, and it blows up into a floor register. But we're going to take the part where the register joins, and we're going to be putting that onto our ducting to bring it down the wall on the inside here. So what we need to do next is just put this onto our last piece of ducting, and we'll just put it in hand tight for now, and then we just need to go up, and we'll just measure how much we need to cut off this pipe in order to make things fit nice. So we'll just go up here, and it's going to go right there. And where we want to go, we want to come to the end of the pipe, but then we want to make sure that we add a couple inches onto that, because we need to go inside the pipe with our end there. So that's just a quick, easy way to do it without having a measuring tape. Well, as I showed you earlier, just take your pipe and you just squish it in, and it just pops apart, in theory. There we go. Yeah, this one's been together for a while, so it's pretty secure. Okay, sometimes it helps if you just take a screwdriver and slip it in here, and then you can just pry that back. And that. Now, in this case here, I need most of this pipe anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open it up to the point where I made my mark, and now I'm going to actually take a pair of tin snips and just simply cut around the pipe. Now I started out with the red-handled tin snips, the right-handed ones, but quickly realized that was going to lead me to a few problems, because an offset handled set would have been better. But since I don't have an offset handled set handy, I went to another little toy. This here is a pipe cutter. It's for cutting this kind of pipe, and it's actually a double cut, and it what happens is it keeps the guide blades on top and the cutting blade underneath the pipe, so you don't get tangled up in things like you do with a regular pair of side cutters here. Actually works kind of neat. You just slip it in there and you just follow your line all the way around. And this little piece of metal comes up in between the two blades, which is perfectly fine by me. And this takes you all the way around to the beginning. That's what that little toy is for. Now once you've got that cut, then you can just simply reassemble your pipe. Okay, now that that's all cut down to size, then the next step here is to get up here and struggle to get it all together. It's always challenging when you got a wire in the way. Just get it in a position you can lower this end as much as possible. That gives you some slack so you can get that in back far enough. Get it halfway on, and then you can push it up into place. Come on, you. Up there. Worst case scenario, you may be forced to do this piece at a time. For some reason, one pipe is a little more oblong than the other, and they don't want to quite fit together, so we'll just get that in there. Once that's in place, then we can come get that in there, and it fits just nicely. There we go. Just line this up with the edge of our stud here, and that cable out of the way. With that in place, we can take a nail and just tack that in there. That'll hold temporarily, and we'll just set a screw in to hold this up, and we'll put another strap here so that it just takes the pressure off things and holds that nice and straight. So let's just go get a drill. Now with that strap firmly in place, now we can take our 1/2 inch self-tappers, and we can tie the rest of this this duct together here and tape it up properly. Okay, now that we've brought our heat duct across the room. The next thing we have to do is bring it down the wall. Now, I'm using a 3x10 square ducting. These sections are 5 feet long, and that's basically what they look like on the end. This is only half the duct, and basically what we're going to do, we're going to put another section that looks exactly like this, and it clips on over it. And so it makes it easy to assemble in the wall. We're going to break a couple of rules here that I've talked about earlier about the airflow and stuff, but there's a reason for that, just practicality basically. We're going to take the first piece, we're going to stick it up inside of the boot that we just installed on the ceiling there, and we're just basically going to line that up with the front of the stud, make sure it's nice and level there. Either take a self-drilling screw or a nail or something and just tack a hole here, like so. And then once you've got that done, then just take a drill and it's the same kind of screws that we were using earlier there. These ones are 1.5 inches long, and that's all there is to it. Just sink a couple of those into the side here. Make sure that stays even with the front. Just push it just back just a little bit, actually, because you got some thickness for the front piece. Make sure that stays right back there. Alright. There we go. So as long as you're about 1/8 of an inch from flush or flush, you should be fine. And there we go. Now, with that piece now secured to the wall, we go back up here, and this time we put our tape on the inside. Just measure it out what we need, and just tear that off. And then just seal that from the inside. Put a couple of 1/2 inch self-tappers as well, and then that'll just hold that piece together. Now, with that piece secured in place on the wall, you take the next piece and you just flip it over and slip it into place from the outside, And try and get inside there. And then you clip that into place. Okay. With that in place, screw it and tape it from the outside, and then go on to the next section. Okay, the final step in installing our floor heating duct is to put the last elbow in where we are going to have the heat register come out. And that, we just take a 90-degree flat elbow and we stick it in place here. Now, one thing about these elbows, they are a little wide, so they're going to stick out just a little bit in front of the stud. Unfortunately, that's just the way they're made. There's not really much you can do about it. If you got a 2x6 wall, it's not going to be an issue, but with a 2x4 wall, it's a little bit of a tight fit. So anyways, just get it set in there, measure your distance between the two of them, cut your pieces, and then just assemble exactly as you've been assembling. Put the one piece in, secure the elbow first, and then put the one piece inside the other and snap the other piece over it, screw it and tape it, and you're done. That's all there is to it. Have a good day. As a final note, when finishing this, what you can do, because it does stick out a couple inches from the wall, what you need to do after you get your drywall on is just take a cutting disc and just cut the front face off, and then you can put your cover or however you're going to finish it.